All right. Hi, everybody. Welcome back to today's edition of VC TV with your host, Kyle Ellicott. It is July 28th, and we've got a fun, exciting topic and something very important to us on all sides of the table. Whether you're an entrepreneur and founder, or you're an investor or a new investor looking to enter into the industry, things have changed. We look at what happened back in the beginning of 2020 and how the pandemic completely shifted or brought to light a lot of the changes that we're now seeing here in 2021 around venture capital and the world of investments. There's much to be discussed. There's more opportunities than ever. There's more new funds and bigger funds being announced every day. But as investors, we can now see great opportunities with great founders anywhere in the world, anytime, thanks to just these boxes right here and the power of new technology that brings us all together. And you entrepreneurs have the chance to now connect with investors all around the world that you may never have had to before. But how does everyone feel about this? What has changed? What has not? And where do we go from here? Also, what are some good industries and areas of opportunity that you all need to be paying attention to? Well, I'm joined by some outstanding co-hosts from around the world who are going to share their insights around just that. But a big thank you to you, our audience, for tuning in, and to the LaToken team, along with Maria and Hasmik, for making today's episode possible. With that, I'd like to welcome all of our outstanding co-hosts today. And Jason, why don't you kick us off with a first intro and background for the audience?
Great. Glad to be back. Thank you, Kyle and LaToken. Personally, I've been involved in the entrepreneurial and investment community for over 20 years in the Chicago / Midwest part of the U.S. And Propellant Ventures specifically focuses on investing in pre-seed and early seed B2B technology-enabled businesses throughout the Midwest, such as health tech, fintech, supply chain, ed tech, and future work. I also run the Founder Institute chapter in Chicago, so have my really close to the ground level of these early stage businesses. So we're excited to be investing in the Midwest, very bullish on the region, and happy to be here to share my perspective.
Wonderful, and happy to have you as well. Vandana, welcome back as well. Short intro and background, please.
Thank you so much for having me here. First of all, I would like to thank the entire team of LaToken for creating this show. LaToken makes people come globally, together on one platform and exchange insights. And my heartfelt thank you to the entire team. They put in a lot of effort to create this show. Coming to my background, I had my own family office in Singapore and Jakarta. I worked as an investment banker and advisor to family offices and angel investors in Jakarta, Indonesia, helping startups from diverse backgrounds from Fin-Tech and B2B Tech all the way to consumer startups. I was raising funds for them and providing them with a range of services, just as Convanto does today. After 15 years of staying in Singapore and Jakarta, I came back to India. I did investments for a bit and then returned to advisory. That is when Convanto was founded. Today, Convanto is the most well-known boutique investment banks in India, led by a female founder. Today, I'm also a venture advisor with Loyal VC, the INSEAD-led Canadian VC Fund, having a core portfolio of over 160 investments in more than 35 countries. I'm also a partner with GST Venture Studios, a Silicon Valley-based venture builder. Over the years, I've arranged funding for startups and growth stage companies in diverse sectors like fintech, edutech, consumer, B2C and B2B, agri-tech, health tech, food tech, disruptive and deep tech, as well as non-tech sectors. And I would recommend all of you to kindly have a look at my website, and please do have a look at the testimonials written by my clients. This month, I've been nominated as the top 10 women leaders in Wealth Management 2021. And my expert opinion is sought by leading business news channels like VCTV, Business World, and I've participated in 155 talks all over the world. Also, I'm connected with 300 plus investors. We are sector agnostic, and typically we do $1 million to $25 million. And thank you once again for having me here.
Thank you very much. Mina, welcome. First time guest with us here on VCTV. It's a pleasure. A little intro, a little background for everybody, please.
Thank you, Kyle. Thank you, Kyle, and the Latoken team for allowing me the opportunity to come speak today. A little background about myself. My name is Mina N. Black. I am a financial advisor by my background. I've been an advisor for 15 years, and I am also a serial entrepreneur. I'm the founder of a financial wellness company here in New York City, focusing on financial and business advisory for both individuals and corporate clients. And my newest venture that I am very proud of, it's called Mama Ventures. Myself and my partner, our goal is to fund modern parenthood and help essentially change the face of change how parents essentially manage their livelihoods. Unfortunately, there's been so many changes as a result of the pandemic that have negatively impacted moms in particular as a result of the pandemic. And our goal is to help change how moms function. So if you're interested in learning more about Mama Ventures, you can find me on LinkedIn.
Wonderful. I am. We are. And we're going to come back to that in one moment because I want to make sure Tolga gets his intro in, and then I want to come back and we're going to start with you. Tolga, welcome back to the show. It's a pleasure as always. We got a different view today with your background, but it's always a pleasure. Give us a little intro and background.
Sorry, I was on mute. Thank you, Kyle. Thank you for inviting me. I really appreciate it. And to give you a little intro, I had my own company from 2013 to 2018-19. I worked with over 40 different startups, worked with global brands, and eventually I sold my company to an investment company based in Canada. It was an esports and technology investment company. And I was a CEO of that company for a while until that company became publicly traded. And the pandemic happened, so I had to resign. That company changed focus from esports to psychedelics. So right now I am an investor of both psychedelics and esports. Yeah, I'm very excited to talk about the pandemic and how it changed the world of investments. I would love to share my thoughts with you.
Absolutely. And happy to have all of you today as we've been discussing these types of topics for well over a year now because things continually change. But Mina, I want to start with you. I mean, you are not only a founder, a serial entrepreneur, pardon me, and also an investor, but you've created this new organization, Mama Ventures. Want to know more about it, share more with our audience, but also you mentioned how this pandemic has changed things for mothers and for families, and how that has impacted both the venture and the entrepreneurial world. Can you share a little bit more with us about this?
Absolutely. So Mama Ventures actually arose as a result of the pandemic. Myself and my partner, we are both moms. I'm a mom of two little ones. And one of the challenges I'm sure most of you probably have read about endlessly is the challenges that most women, in particular moms, have gone through over the past year and a half or so in trying to essentially be mom, teacher, healer, like everything under the sun, all the while managing their day-to-day career. And the reason that Mama Ventures started was so that we can essentially address some of the challenges myself and my partner and so many other women have faced over the past year and a half as a result of the pandemic, which is that unfortunately we are only one person and there's ever so much that we as individuals can do. I'm sure obviously a lot of men also faced a lot of challenges, but a brunt of the challenges faced by individuals in the pandemic were literally by women, particularly working moms. Unfortunately, had the biggest challenge as a result of the pandemic, i.e. being a teacher, as well as also obviously trying to actually do our day-to-day work. And Mama Ventures rose out of the ashes of the pandemic in that our mission and our goal is to help address some of these challenges. Just to give you a little background, a little insight as to why we started this venture is because of some of the challenges we faced as moms and some of the challenges that have come out of the pandemic.
That's incredible, and congratulations, great effort. If you can share the link with us, and I'll share that out with the audience. So thank you very much. And Jason, I want to come to you next. I mean, how has the pandemic changed investing and really just venture capital for you, your portfolio, the way you do things, diligence? How has this all changed for you over the last year and how you look at doing investments going forward?
Well, I think there was a paradigm shift in the VC landscape where traditionally investors think they have to meet with all the entrepreneurs before they make investments. So they have to travel or they come to them. And actually, I was at a fund before I launched Propellant Ventures. We rarely met with the companies or the investors. And so this was normal for me. But for most people that have been in the investment space for a long time, it was definitely a paradigm shift. And I believe, you do not have to do everything in person, and saves costs. There's efficiencies. You don't have to obviously travel as much, and you can get more done. And so I think that is a good thing. I mean, obviously meeting people in person is so important, but it doesn't have to be done for every single meeting, especially first time meetings. So that is definitely a change for a lot of people. Also, the technology, certain industries as we all know, has been accelerated, and there's additional interest and money being poured into industries like ed tech, supply chain, Fin-Tech, some of the ones that we're focused on. There's been an acceleration and there's more of an acceptance in doing things remotely. And so I think it's a good thing. And there's some industries that are being built now that, may not have been big until the pandemic, and, we'll see what happens going forward. But I think there's a lot of great opportunities out there, and a lot of industries have thrived as a result. And the better companies will thrive as a result of this, whether they change their models or they add an additional revenue stream, whatever it is. But it's really shows the resilience of the founders and the teams.
What are some of those areas of opportunity you're starting to see, or industries that are catching your eye now more than ever as things have changed?
I mean, the whole future of work, and that probably ties into some of Mama Ventures businesses they may invest in, but the whole future of work is a term that was coined not too long ago, and it virtual events, remote tech, allowing employers to connect with their employees to connect with employees better. Obviously, doing virtual type of events or hybrid events, I think, is going to be, where there's some in-person and online capability. I mean, as you know, Kyle, we've been doing virtual events for over a year on one of our portfolio company platforms, GamerJibe, and these type of events are here to stay, but it's going to be, it's an additional way to connect with people, and you can do things online that you may not be able to do it in person. So I see that as, as a still continued growth opportunity. Ed tech is also having an explosion. I mean, last year it was, 50% more investment in ed tech than there was the previous record. So just think about it. I mean, there's an explosion. There are unicorns in the space now, and so investors are really pouring a lot of money into it. There are exits that are finally starting to happen in that space. So those that have been in ed tech investing for a long time have not seen as many returns until more recently. So again, it's been accepted, it's been accelerated, the remote way of doing things, whether it's secondary education, higher ed, even corporate ed, it's all been accelerated and more accepted now. So yeah, I'm excited to see the continued growth of those areas. There will be some leveling out, I'm sure, like any growth in a market, but the winners will be here to stay, I believe.
Yeah, we've seen an explosion of ed tech and a big, huge focus on, or emphasis, I should say, on ed tech, education technology at all areas, as you mentioned. So excited to watch that continue to try or trend over the next multiple years as education gets reshaped as well. And Tolga, coming to you, I mean, you've been in all these different areas: esports, the psychedelics, electric vehicles, alternative energies. I mean, you're looking at some of the very future forward technologies. How has the pandemic and changed the way that you were looking at investments, fundraising, and also just looking at things going forward? I mean, what's getting you excited?
You're right, because I've been in, just because I worked with so many different startups in the very ground level, I've been in many industries, as you mentioned, from esports to technology, digital platforms, equity crowdfunding, valet parking, cannabis delivery, fantasy sports betting. I worked on all of those projects, and AI too. I think one of the most interesting things happening right now is, I think, in the transportation industry, because this whole pandemic definitely accelerated the consciousness, the understanding of like how the climate change is affecting our lives and our world. So people, especially the big money movers, they are behind the movement of this clean energy, green energy movement, and I'm supporting it too. When I'm, running in the streets, I don't want to be, inhaling CO2 of cars. We are living in a environment that is getting dirtier every day. We may not realize this, but it is actually happening. So the population is increasing. We are depleting the resources of our world. It's definitely limited amount of resources. So one of the best things that we can do as the entire humankind, we can switch to clean energy because we're consuming energy, the fossil fuel energy, in every aspect of our lives right now. In every industry, there's fossil fuels, natural gas, coal, gasoline, petroleum, different products from, even from the asphalt to, the gas stations, to the tires, to the plastics that we use. They're all made of fossil fuels. Like it's really the majority of our what we are consuming every day. So switching this is going to be a massive shift, and I think the greatest shift is happening in the oil industry, because we need to definitely quit using oil as much as we are doing in 2021. So that is creating a huge new market, which is electric vehicles and EV charging. And this is not $1 billion industry. This is literally trillions of dollars of money is going to be is going to be involved in this industry. It's going to form this market in the next 10 years. And the growth is going to be, I think, literally like insane. I think it's there's so much money behind the infrastructure bills that the governments are passing. It's not even just the U.S. government. This is happening all over the world. All governments are making moves to switch to green and clean energy. There's a huge movement for the electrification of our roads, the cars. I mean, I think the pandemic definitely accelerated this. So I will totally advise all the investors and startup entrepreneurs to be really focusing on, what can happen in the next 10 years in terms of EVs and EV charging, because this is going to be an exploding market.
Absolutely. Thank you, Tolga. And Vandana, to you, I mean, investing in over 160 companies, in multiple countries around the world, and being based where you are, how has the pandemic changed for you, the companies you look at, to how you make investments and your decision process as well, working with family offices and the otherwise?
So actually, last year when the pandemic had hit us, actually I sat on one chair and I closed 4 deals. Initially, what was happening was that I was having only 4 to 5 meetings in a day, and now I can have at least 10 to 15 meetings in a day and close a lot of things. Now, what happened was, way back before time, when demonetization happened in India, people were skeptical to use Paytm, the digital payment platform. Only when they were forced to use, they realized that how effective it is. And now I see the vegetable vendor, the milkman, everybody using it very, very effectively. Similarly, last year, these digital platforms like Zoom, AirMeet, StreamYard, many people didn't know how to use it. And because of the pandemic, they got to use these platforms forcefully, and everything became so effective. Like look at Latokan TV. We have so many global events on one platform. Could we have these kind of events way before time? No, we couldn't. We were traveling here and there for these events, and speaking on events after traveling. So I think the pandemic has done a lot of good things to me. I've been able to close multiple deals. Investments are happening in large, especially in edutech, fintech, agri-tech, health tech, food tech. Many women got employed also via cloud kitchens, which I had observed. So I think for working women, it's a boon because they can manage their home, they can manage their work, and they can have all these other hacks to do so many things which they couldn't do before. And initially, the travel was really killing me. I was reaching places late, traffic jams, and just able to do 2 or 3 meetings in a day. Now I can do at least 15, 16 meetings in a day. It's at night 10:30 p.m. here, and I'm still awake and fresh, as you can see. So I think the pandemic has done a lot of good things to at least our ventures, and investments slowed down in between in the past 2 months when there was lack of oxygen, etc. in India. But now it is again come up again. We have seen a very good food company, Zomato, listed up in the IPO. So I'm very happy about all this.
This is exciting, and just continues to paint the picture of how things are aggressively changing so rapidly for all of us as investors, and also for founders as well. Again, they have the opportunity to reach each and every one of us, and others, no matter where they are. And thanks to the power of various technologies, and as we mentioned, these transforming business models and businesses that are coming into play to help those at all areas of their life as well. So very exciting. And Jason, coming to you, quick closing thoughts. Where can you be found online? And in your closing thoughts today, aside from EdTech, because we know that that's the one industry, what's the second industry people need to be paying attention to in your eyes right now? And where can they find you?
I mean, there's multiple ones. One that specifically comes to mind is supply chain. That got really challenged during the beginning of the pandemic. And there's been a lot of continued capital being put into the industry. So I'd say supply chain across all industries is definitely to pay attention to. Obviously, with food tech, you have some supply chain, of course, attached to that. But just with e-commerce in general, supply chain is something to pay attention to. I can be reached on LinkedIn as well as email at jason@propellant.vc. And I want to thank you again for having me here, Kyle.
Thank you, Jason. Appreciate it. Tolga, to you, industry of choice, closing thoughts, where can you be found?
Of course, electric vehicles and EV charging. It's my industry, and I think it's going to be, like I said, it's going to be an exploding industry in the next 5, 10, 15 years. Yeah, I mean, I think if I need to talk about any other industry, I would say, probably like AI technologies that are related to online meetings that makes people's lives easier. Remote working applications that allow people to collaborate in a creative environments, in work environments. That these are really interesting. I think new applications that can be applied after the pandemic, because remote work, remote interactions, remote meetings, remote streaming are the future of the digital industry. So, but overall, totally, like EVs and EV charging are my favorite industry. I think it's going to be an exploding industry. Everybody can reach me through my website, tolgaonuk.com. My LinkedIn is Tolga Onuk. feel free to email me about anything. I would love to answer any questions. And yeah, I would love to, see you again, Kyle, on another event.
Wonderful. Can't wait for it. Very excited. Vandana, to you, one area of interest and where can you be found online to continue the conversation?
So actually we are sector agnostic, but if I have to select one, can I select two instead? Because health tech and fintech are my favorite. In health tech, we are having such good technologies which are removing, chemotherapy and treating cancer and, stem cells technology. So I'm very excited to do investments in those. And I could be reached out on LinkedIn and my website, www.convanto.com. And once again, thank you for having me here.
Thank you as well. Mina, close us out. Closing thought, industry of choice, and where can everyone find you and Mama Ventures? Oh, whoop! One second. We had a great closing thought there, but we missed a half of it. I'm gonna give you a second chance. Let's get you on mute.
So that'd be great. Let me unmute myself. That helps. For me and Mama Ventures, we're looking at health tech for the most part. Specifically, any company that obviously make the lives of parents easier, and all companies that essentially will help moms and caretakers. We're looking at the overall care economy from the prenatal to literally elder care. Any company that will make it more convenient for us to essentially become healthier. I.e., so that we don't have to leave the confines of our office or our homes to go to the doctor's office or to visit any particular healthcare facility. So that's where my focus primarily is, and that's what we're focusing our attention on. If anyone wants to reach out to me, I'm on LinkedIn under Mina N in Black. You can find me there, and please feel free to reach out to me.
Wonderful. Thank you all very much. And I'm going to give us a fourth shout out for Mama Ventures. It's a great effort and organization. So mamaventures.vc for those who are paying attention. Audience, thank you so much for tuning in. If you like what you heard, make sure you click like, share, and subscribe to today's episode to hear more from today's speakers and all speakers of the VCTV family. Do check us out on letoken.com and do reach out to each and every one of us on LinkedIn. We'd love to hear more from you, as everyone mentioned, but please do add context, where you heard us, where you met us, what you would like to continue the conversation about. Thank you to the Token team, to Maria and Hasmek for making today's episode possible. With that, everyone, I'm your host, Kyle Ellicott. See you back here tomorrow. Have a wonderful day. Take care, everybody.
Bye. Good night.